Hello and welcome. My name is Mike McKee. I'm the Director of Admissions here at the Dunn School. This is my 10th year as Dunn's Admissions Director, and I feel like that's truly a testament to my belief in the mission and philosophy of the school. I do live on campus with my family of 5 and currently have a daughter in the 9th grade here at Dunn who's having a wonderful experience. In addition to my role in admissions, I'm also part of the residential staff working in the dorms here. Also have coached numerous sports at Dunn, including boys lacrosse, boys volleyball, and this year we'll be assisting with the girls lacrosse team. Enough about me. I really want to thank you all who are joining this webinar tonight, and welcome to our Dunn School Virtual Open House. Tonight's event is one I'm really excited about because I get to introduce you and allow you to hear from those individuals in our professional community who really implement all the programs that Dunn's known for. Each of these programs are very student focused, and while each one may not necessarily be unique to Dunn, their approach and their focus on whole student education truly is. Tonight, you will hear more about academics and our learning support program, our Jurgensen Entrepreneurship Program, outdoor education, athletics, college counseling. And in addition to these wonderful programs, we also have 4 current Dunn School students joining us on tonight's webinar, and they'll help shed light on the student experience here at Dunn. Thank you to the students, and you'll have the opportunity to speak here later in the evening. First, a little housekeeping. While this is set up as a webinar, we really want this hour to be as interactive as possible. While those members of the panel will share information about their programs, we'd really love for you to submit any and all questions you may have through the Q&A function at the bottom of your Zoom screen. We will save the last 20 to 30 minutes at the end of this webinar to answer as many of your questions as we can get to. Additionally, and thankfully, it's been some time since our last Zoom webinar that we've done like this. So apologize in advance if there's any technical issues, and apologize for the amount of times we need to remind each other that we're on mute. So to start, I guess I would love to introduce our head of school, Kalyan Belevin. He's actually traveling with several students to Texas right now to be part of a conference there. But Cal, if you can unmute and just share a little bit about maybe your mission and philosophy of Dunn School, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mike. I hope everyone can hear me well. I'm on a rooftop here in San Antonio. I have the students behind me and some colleagues as well. And we're here with students that are working on leadership skills around community building. And they'll be coming back to school and bringing those skills back to school. Some of the things that we try to do actively with our students. But I want to take us back to a quote that I read from Tony Dunn. It resonates with me. It's a quote I feel like really captures the school. Tony Dunn says, when talking about the operation of education, that the view from the mountaintop is the reward of the climber. And when he talks about that view, he's talking about those moments that we get to appreciate with students all the time, whether it's in the entrepreneurial spirit, when I got students starting their own companies, students thriving as STEM learners, students really going deep into a book, getting so inspired they want to write their own. All these wonderful projects, all these wonderful ways in which to explore. The view from the mountaintop is the joy of all the educators and the students. We get to see this every day. What Tony Dunn built is a school that's built around the foundation of whole student education. A lot of schools say that, but they don't really show you what that looks like. For our school, we have our core values, and those core values are educational outcomes. So when the students graduate from the school, they've navigated those core values while they've been students at Dunn. I'm excited to be in the role of serving as head of school. I'm excited to work with kids all day long. I'm excited because I teach classes as well. And love that I got some of my students on here. And it was one of the most rewarding experiences. And I'm excited because I'm a dad. And my rising 9th graders coming to the high school next year is enjoying 8th grade at Dunn Middle School right now. It's been a phenomenal experience for our family, for all these students. No place I'd rather be. Trust me, it's cold out here in Texas. No place I'd rather be than Dunn School. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you so much, Kalyan. Wonderful, and glad that trip's going well. Next, I'd like to introduce you to our first panelist, our Associate Head of School for Curriculum and Learning, Simon Sweeney. Simon, if you could unmute and just tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience at Dunn, and just introduce the academic program.
Sure, thanks, Mike. Am I off mute? Cool, passed the first test. My name is Dunn Sweeney. I'm the Associate Head of School for Curriculum and Learning. This is my 11th year, 11th year here at Dunn, formerly the head of the middle school, and as well as now looking over curriculum, the 6 through 12 program. My job is really to make sure that faculty are delivering a quality education that is both accessible, engaging, and also challenging for students here at Dunn. Our classes are intentionally small in size, typically around 10 to 12 per section. Students receive personalized attention and guidance. Further to this, as Mike mentioned, about 80% of our faculty actually live on campus, which gives students and teachers more available contact time versus what you would find in a day school. While we hire teachers who are all subject experts in their matter, hold up, I am reading off the script and Mike just made it disappear. Come back. All right, so we had subject, everyone's an expert in a subject area, but we really value people who really want to make a difference in kids' lives. And that means, in the dorms, on the playing fields, as well as in the classroom. Our approach is hands-on. We really value experiential learning. Mike Chapman, our director, will talk about that later as it works out of the classroom. I'm really going to focus on what happens inside the classroom. We do look at everything that happens at school as being curricular. We talk about trips, dorm life, athletics clubs, wayside learning, but to the classrooms themselves. Science classes combine the best of the NGSS standards, practice of inquiry, and tried and true critical thinking. Our math classes are, they combine conceptual and procedural understanding to provide a foundation at the lower levels so kids can attack the calculus, statistics / data science / computer science at the upper levels. Our humanities classes are taught in a seminar fashion. We really value the sharing of ideas and the co-creation of understanding and insights of concepts, both literary and historical. Our Spanish classes, we learn daily via reading and speaking in real world situations. Our arts department, music, arts, ceramics, film, photo, drama, equally valued. We value the whole student and their pursuit of excellence and growth in the academic setting. Further to this, we currently have a slew of enrichment classes that complement our traditional courses. Students are able to take journalism, speech and debate, NFT, non-fungible token classes, history and philosophy of power. They're curated classes, co-created by students and faculty, and they can really complement what takes place within the traditional classes. Further to this, over the past 50 years, Dunn has been a national leader in supporting neurodiverse students within a challenging program. About 20% of our students are enrolled in our Learning Strategies program, and they're supported by faculty on a daily basis on a one-on-one case. These supports allow students within the program to thrive, as well as supporting all students within our program through the action that they're really like our research arm into best practices of teaching and learning to support kids. So that's really just a 20,000-foot view of our academic program. I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Chad Stacey. We have a unique program to Dunn, our entrepreneurship program, and Chad, who is our director of the Jurgensen Entrepreneurship Program, will talk more about that and the role in which that plays in the life of students here at Dunn. Thank you.
I will unmute first. Thank you, Simon. So as our head of school, Callian, likes to say, we're not new to the entrepreneurship game. We've been at this since the 70s. In some aspects, this is in our DNA. It's in the way we do whole student education, and this is just another program that does it so well. So the origin story is Robert W. Jurgensen, the CFO of Dunn School back in the 70s, was teaching an econ class. And he had some students that wanted to learn about business. And so he took them down to Smart and Final. They loaded up their Rubbermaid containers with candy, and they sold it from underneath their dorm beds. And they made a lot of money. One of those students took it a step or two further and started showing first-run movies on the back of the schoolhouse, charging for popcorn, had his own radio station, got to the point where where even Bob was saying, hey, you're being a little bit too much of a capitalist here on this campus. So that student was Mike Boone. And he and Bob made a really tight connection. And that's our goal for all of your kids that come to Dunn School, is to make a tight, real connection with adults. And so Mike Boone 2 years ago said, I really love what I got from Bob Jurgensen. I really love the entrepreneurship program that you're teaching here today. Let's really expand it and let's really deepen it. So what we're doing now is multi-part and it's multi-class. So what we have is we have real businesses for the kids to run. So what you're seeing in this picture right here is two students sitting outside of Jurgensen's Market. So Jurgensen's Market is inside our brand new Cindy Bronfman Leadership Center. It's right at the heart of campus. And these students are making an order for inventory to sell in the market. They price the inventory, they collaborate with vendors, they clean the space, they run the income statements and the balance sheets. They do everything that has to happen to run a successful business. And as you might imagine, in a business where sugar is on every shelf, they're pretty successful. They net about $30,000 in net income a year and learn a whole lot in the process. They also then take those profits and they invest them in a scholarship fund of the cafe. So we teach them how to invest in common stocks. We've been at that for about 10 years and we have a $300,000 balance, and the kids' returns are actually beating the returns of the S&P 500. So let the kids invest your money. That's one piece of takeaway that you can have from tonight. The third component, of course, is entrepreneurship. So we let the kids tease out their own business ideas. We give them a tool called the Business Model Canvas. We teach them customer development and problem solutions, ideation, and they go to work. And they come up with some really amazing business ideas. We had a big showcase event last week, and one of the top ideas was trying to solve the problem of waking up your partner when you're sleeping. And so all the alarm clocks that play the noise also wake up your partner. But this one was a little wristwatch that vibrated and with a little device that let out some of your favorite morning smells. So maybe it was coffee or maybe it was bacon. So those kids came up with that idea. They talked to customers about it. They iterated and they presented in front of the entire community on a big showcase event. And that's kind of how we roll. We really like connecting the kids with real problems and real business people and putting them in front of the community, in front of professionals in high stakes assessments. You'd be amazed at what your kids will do when they're in front of a large group of professionals. They'll give you decent work as a teacher, but they give you excellence when they're really asked to, when you really motivate them to. So we're really excited about the program. We've added a philosophy component this year. Callian actually teaches that philosophy component. It's a huge success. The biggest part of the funding, the biggest opportunity that we've gotten from the funding was expansion. We always had to cap the program at about 18 kids, and then we'd have a waiting list. So kids would come to Dunn and say, hey, I want to be part of this program, and we had to cap it. Now we've got 62 kids in the program, and we're working through all kinds of different levels. Just this morning, for an example of kind of how we do our work, just this morning we were touring a kombucha brewing plant where we are making our own brand of kombucha that we're going to sell in our cafe. So each kid is getting in a group, they're going to name it, they're going to figure out what customer segment they're going to sell it to, they're going to price it, they're going to figure out what the flavors are, and then we're going to outsource the brewing and the canning to this third party. And we had a great factory tour this morning, and it's a wonderful partnership. So we're looking for those partnerships wherever we can. I think at the end of the day, I'd like to just close by, if you ask your kids why they don't like school, and most of them will say, yes, I don't like school, they're going to say because it's irrelevant. Like what we're learning doesn't matter. It's not real. And what you're hearing in this program and what you're going to hear from Mike Chapman and what you're going to hear from others is that our education is real. These kids are solving real problems. They're running real businesses. They're not studying for tests and here's this sheet that you have to memorize and this packet that you have to do, and there'll be a test next week. All that stuff they can ask Siri and get the answers to. What we're teaching them is 21st century business skills with an engaging curriculum that they just love, and they eat it up, and they love the program, and they love Dunn School. I'm done.
Yeah, thank you, Chad. I think I learned some new things there. I didn't know you guys went to that kombucha factory today. That's super cool. Awesome. Well, thank you, Chad. Next up, I'd like to introduce Mike Chapman. Mike is a history teacher here on campus, but also our director of our outdoor education program. So Mike, if you can take it away from here.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So again, my name is Mike Chapman, and I'm the director of outdoor ed and a U.S. history teacher here for our junior class here at Dunn. This is my second year at Dunn. Last year, my family and I made the cross-country move from Washington, D.C., about as far as you can be away from Dunn, and we're incredibly grateful to be here. I live on campus with my wonderful wife, Allie, and my two young kids, Cole and Sophie. So outdoor ed, the mission of the Dunn outdoor ed program is to provide members of the Dunn community with the required knowledge, confidence, and experience to ignite an interest in outdoor recreation on a personal level, develop a sense of stewardship towards the natural world, and build meaningful relationships with classmates, faculty, and staff in these challenging outdoor environments. So the way we go about doing that is by focusing on 3 learning outcomes on any given trip. First, we utilize a building block approach to outdoor living skills so that intro or introductory skills learned in middle school or freshman year, maybe sophomore year, such as shelter, first aid, base camping, contribute directly to advanced skills by junior and senior year, such as backpacking, land navigation, or even water filtration. Second, students should walk away from each and every trip with a developed sense of place. They should be able to identify basic flora and fauna, understand the rich ecology and geology, and appreciate the indigenous ways of life which thrived prior to our arrival. And then third, we will continue to emphasize the evening meeting as a sacred ritual and tradition through which we reflect on human strength and weakness, virtue and vice, and overall interpersonal team dynamics, all of which, as we all know, really reveal themselves each and every day on these sorts of trips. So fortunately, Dunn students actually have a wide variety of outdoor ed opportunities and activities to choose from. First and foremost, late summer and fall, traditionally, we continue to send out all students on mandatory grade level trips along with faculty and staff. For example, this past year, the freshmen and seniors went backpacking in Yosemite. The sophomores spent a week base camping, hiking, kayaking, and snorkeling in the Channel Islands. And the juniors returned to the Southern Sierras for a variety of challenging backpacking routes. In the spring, we also offer more technical outdoor learning opportunities to motivated students seeking additional experience and challenge during our mini terms and enrichment weeks, which essentially are blocks of time outside the traditional academic schedule to pursue meaningful experiential learning activities. So again, for example, this past February, we had students participating in expeditions in Big Sur, in Death Valley, earning scuba certifications here on the coast, spending a week surfing outside of San Diego, and even learning to ski, cross-country ski, snowboard, and snowshoe at North Star. Lastly, or additionally, on the weekends, we try and partner with the Los Padres Forest Association and Sedgwick Reserve to conduct trail maintenance outings. And we often take students on local day hikes, stand-up paddleboard lessons, surfing, and sometimes some overnight backpacking trips in our Los Padres backyard. So this August, I was fortunate enough to join the sophomores on the Channel Islands and the freshmen and seniors in Yosemite in back-to-back trips. A notable moment for me was actually on the Yosemite trip. We were doing a steep ascent to a 10,000-foot alpine lake in the beautiful Yosemite backcountry. We had 2 students really, really struggling. They were freshmen, and they were struggling to make the ascent, and we were on the brink of turning back, to be very frank. But our 3 senior leaders managed to rally the group step by step, inch by inch, reaching the beautiful lake by sunset. And just the feeling of accomplishment as a group was really what those trips are all about, not to mention the just natural beauty once we reach the summit. So in closing, I'd like to share some thoughts from Kurt Hahn. He's the founder of Outward Bound and Round Square, an organization we are now a part of, in which he said, "There is more in us than we know. If we could be made to see it, perhaps for the rest of our lives, we will be unwilling to settle for less." So our duty in this program is to ensure that each and every student at Dunn has the opportunity to see it, whatever that may be for each student's situation, and see it in the incredible California wilderness. I look forward to answering any questions you may have about our program, and thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Mike. Yeah, I got to join that 9th and 12th grade trip into the Yosemite backcountry this fall as well, and what a memorable experience that was. It was beautiful. Next up, we have Dunn alum and Dunn athletic director, Kelsey Sullivan, who's going to talk to you a little bit about our athletic program.
Hey guys, my name is Kelsey Sullivan, class of 2006. My sister also graduated from Dunn. This is actually my second time working there, and I've been a host mom to 8 students that also went through Dunn as well. So I've been a parent on the parent side as well. So really excited to be back at Dunn. I have a deep love for it and really excited to be in the athletics. Athletics is a special place at Dunn where you get to interact with kids in different ways. It's not just like the classrooms with the classes sort of segregated out, as you get to have the kids, 9 through 12 that are all the way through. And athletics is a space for everybody. So we've got kids that have never participated in sports, and then you've got kids that have aspirations of playing college ball, and we're able to help support our range of athletes with our coaches. We've got everybody on staff is help supporting that. And then where we need to, we fill in with outside coaching if we've sort of got to bring in some expertise from the outside to help us level up if we need to with some of our more serious or focused student athletes. And obviously there's a competitive edge, but there's also a big focus on just community building and team building. It's a space where you get to connect to people in a different way, and you get to see each other in a really challenging way. And just having those moments together in a different setting is really special and really fun. Just last week, we had a girls' soccer game up north. Did not go exactly how we had planned, but you could not tell by the bus ride home. Music was blaring. We got cookies on the way, and you just get to experience stuff with kids in a really different way. And it's really, really fun. Yeah, so we've got 3 different seasons. We play fall, winter, and spring. And we've got something for everybody. We ask that all of our students participate in something that we are offering year round. We do have some students that participate in outside sports. We ask that they participate at least once in something on campus, but understand that some of the independent offerings that people are pursuing, we've got some dancers, and that's a really serious year-round thing that makes it difficult for their time with classes. So we've got some kids that do off-campus things, but most of our kids, almost all, are participating in something within sports year-round with us. And we play in a California, the CIF Southern Section. We play in the TCA League. So we've got a bunch of schools as far down as Malibu, and a little bit north of us, we've got about 12 different schools. We've got 2 tiers of that. And so just depending on the sport and the season, we play according to sort of our level, which is really nice. So we might excel in a particular sport and then maybe not as much in another. And within our league, we're able to compete and have mostly competitive games within that. So we want everybody to participate, but hopefully by the time people are juniors and seniors, they're able to contribute to something at a varsity level for us, so that we're able to get the full picture for them in their participation. By the time they walk across our graduation stage, they've got a varsity letter in their hand. And that's a little bit about athletics.
Thank you very much, Kelsey. And our last professional community member I'd like to introduce you to is Terry Devine. Terry is our Director of College Counseling. So Terry, if you don't mind introducing yourself and talking a little bit about your program.
Sure. Thanks, Mike. And thanks everyone for being here. As you've heard from my colleagues, this is just a really unique and wonderful community. I am Terry Devine. I am the Director of College Counseling at Dunn. This is my first year here. I've been in the profession for, I'm going to say 30 years, because I think I stopped counting after a certain amount of time. But I've been doing this work for quite a while, and it truly is my life's work. And I find it just a fun thing to get up and do every single day. So prior to coming to Dunn, I was at Punahou School in Honolulu, which is the largest independent school in the US, and as the Director of College Counseling there. And one thing that made me excited about Dunn was that it is smaller, and that I actually have the opportunity to get to know students on a much more individualized way. And I find that sense of community here is just really, really wonderful. As you've heard from my colleagues, I mean, they really care so deeply about students and about their learning. And you'll hear from our students in a few minutes. And I think just their experiences and the things that they're able to share, I think will also give you some great information. So just to tell you a little bit about our program at Dunn. So, you'll hear often at Dunn, all about the whole child and educating the whole child. The whole student is the whole point. And that certainly spills out over into our college counseling philosophy as well. and really helping students to understand who they are and allowing them that time to do that self-reflection is really, really important, because then as they launch into this college process and they have a good sense of who they are and what will fit them. And you'll hear often in the college admissions world about the fit and finding the right fit. And that means like the social fit and the academic fit and the financial fit. When students know themselves well, that process just naturally unfolds and we find those wonderful fits. And that's why I love working with the students at Dunn, because they really are very much engaged in their learning. They're comfortable just exploring the things that they're naturally curious about, and they're willing to dig deeply into those things. So the program itself, it is a 9 through 12 program, meaning that we are going to be watching and mentoring students all the way through, and starting in 9th grade, really looking at curriculum with students and parents and understanding what that academic map will look like, right? So what's the 4-year plan for your child? Where are their strengths? Where do they want to challenge themselves more? What areas are challenging for them? Right? And how do we find the right pathway to make sure that they're successful? And also giving them opportunity to try new things and expand on the things that they love. So that curricular piece is really important. And I always like to think about the 9th and 10th grade, that college counseling is there to be there as a support. But the big work will begin in the 11th and 12th grade year. But in 9th and 10th grade, we're there to support and encourage and provide opportunity and to talk to students about obviously the academics, but also testing and things that might be coming up, summer programs, internships, things that give them the opportunity to engage in their community in significant ways. And then there's also just program for parents, because parents have questions at that point too, right? So we'll do some parent coffees and some different speakers that we'll bring in just to give you kind of the glimpse into what's coming next. And then starting in 11th and 12th grade, so we'll have our college classes that meet. And in that time, we're really going over all the sort of the nuts and bolts of the process, right? How the applications are filed, how to write your essay, how to practice your interviews, how to formulate your resume, and really giving students all the tools that they need for that. So we'll have the class that goes on, but also individual meetings. And those are really unlimited. Students can schedule those as much as they need help. So today was a very big day, and the seniors will tell you, because today's the UC deadline. UC, the University of California, and the California State University deadline is tonight at midnight. So today we've been just clearing up any little loose ends on that. And in between some presentations, I may have had to answer a couple of emails that have come in, just a couple little things before they hit that submit button. But it's such a fun time and an exciting time. And the seniors that you're going to meet in a few minutes, it's been just so special to be able to watch them click that button and hit submit, and just the joy that they feel in those moments. So those individual meetings are really a lot about strategy and really thinking about what types of schools are going to fit a particular student. But we also have our application workshop in the summer, and that's when we bring in college admissions reps, and they're working directly with the students to help them look at the application, to go through their essay with them and practice their interviews and things like that. So they really do get some really wonderful one-on-one and hands-on attention throughout the process. So another program that I really love is a case study program that we do, and that's like a mock application review where students and parents are sitting with admissions reps and going through mock applications and determining who gets admitted and who gets denied and who gets waitlisted. And I think for parents and for students, it's such a wonderful learning environment, because you really do get to see just how challenging sometimes it can be to make those decisions, and what really resonates in the application and maybe what might fall flat. So I love all those types of teaching tools that we're able to provide. We have probably about 100 college reps that will come and visit us at Dunn every year as well, and they'll come and meet with students and get to know them and put a name to a face. And that's the person that's going to be reading their application. So it's nice for them to have some face time with them. So there's a wonderful program in place that's there to support students throughout this process. And again, I just want you to know that it's individualized and it really is specific to each person that comes into Dunn. So we also work very closely with those college reps, and we consider them to be our partners in this process. And they're there to, students can pick up a phone and talk to a rep if they need to and ask questions about different things. And so I think they feel too that they have such ownership in this process. One of the things I will leave you with, so I'm from New Orleans originally. I will bust out a y'all now and again, and from Hawaii, I'll bring out the aloha. So like I got a crazy vernacular. But one of the things that we do in Louisiana and in New Orleans, we are very French, and we talk about the lagniappe, and everybody gets a little something extra. I certainly hope that our students feel that way about their college process. But for you all tonight, I'll put in the chat my top 10 books for parents to read as they go through this process. So wherever you choose to go, I hope that will be of help to you as you make this decision for your family. So thanks so much for being with us, and I'll take it back to Mike there.
Thank you, Terry. And I know for some people on this webinar, probably to think about the college placement process feels so far away and so distant, but also having a ninth grader myself, having someone like Terry as part of the Dunn School community who's literally gone through this process with thousands of students. It's just a huge breath of relief knowing that there's someone to hold our hand through that process. So Terry, thank you for sharing all that information. I'm about to hop over to introduce or ask our students to introduce themselves, but just a reminder, I see some great questions coming through the Q&A, and we're going to get to a lot of those live, but just a reminder, if anything's on your mind or any questions are sparked by the conversation here, please put them there. And then after our students introduce themselves, we'll hop into the Q&A section. So students, we'll go Paul, Willa, Ethan, and Charlotte. So Paul, we'll start with you. Paul, or students, I'd like you to share maybe your name, your grade, where you're from. That'll indicate if you're a day or a boarding student as well. Your favorite class at Dunn, and maybe your favorite memory from your time at Dunn School. So again, we'll start with Paul. If you can hop on here and share a little bit, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Paul DeBoard. I am a senior, so a 12th grader at Dunn. I'm from San Francisco, California. So I am a boarding student, and I've been boarding since sophomore year, which is when I came to the school. My favorite class is probably History and Philosophy of Status and Power, which is taught by Callie and Balavin, the head of school, who you guys met earlier. I love this class. It was only a 1 trimester class this year, so I stopped it this trimester, but it was a really wonderful class because it helped me understand more about power in my life and how I view other people and their representation of me. Last thing was my favorite memory at Dunn. It's more of a kind of a memory instead of one concise moment. The opportunities that we get at Dunn are endless, and the weeks and little moments that we don't have school, but we have the opportunity to make something of that time, such as college week, such as outdoor ed. Those are just wonderful moments that we get to share with our classmates so that we can really build connections, even as freshmen. I was here as a sophomore, not a freshman. As a new student, I found this time really helpful to get to know my teammates in sports and just my friends that I would come to find to be really helpful. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul. And then Willa, if you can unmute and share a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Hi, guys. My name is Willa Levy. I am a senior, like Paul. I also came here my sophomore year. I'm from Venice Beach, Los Angeles. I am a boarder. I'm also RA. Yeah. My favorite class is, can I give 2? Is 2 okay? I'll give 2. Why not?
Definitely.
Music is one of my favorite classes. I started music my sophomore year. I haven't stopped since. Like leading into favorite memory is just being in that class, being in that music room. It is so vital to me now, and it's something that I want to continue. So I'm extremely grateful for that. And academic wise, I think that English has become a big factor in my life, which is really funny to me because I used to hate English. And when I was younger, I would struggle a lot with it. My mom would sit me down and like try to just explain everything to me, and I just got really emotional about it because it's my mom trying to lecture me. But when I came here, it kind of clicked, and I grew such a admiration for it, and the books that we read and the writing, I really, really appreciated it. And I don't know, the intellectual growth in general, which is also one of the core values at Dunn, is definitely something that is extremely prominent in your life here. And the personal, what was it that Simon said? He said, personal, like being in smaller classes and having more of a personal experience with your teachers, it definitely, it helps you a lot. And it's a big quality that I did not experience in my other schools.
Awesome. And Willa, do you have a favorite memory from your time at Dunn that you'd like to share?
I think my favorite memory was last year. I was in music and I performed before winter break started. I was in Ensemble 3. It was a very jazz group. I was learning piano as I was going throughout the year, and we had our performance, and we played, what did we play? We played a song that our music teacher composed, and that meant a lot to me because it was like kind of his creativity, and he shared it with us, and we played it, and I loved it. And like, I got the recording of it after, and I just watched it over and over again. I would listen to all the solos, and it was just, yeah, I loved it. I loved the process of getting to that moment and then watching it after and kind of feeling really proud of us and our group and what we did. So yeah, that's my favorite.
That's awesome. And yeah, you touched on it, but Willa's an incredible singer. And I know for a lot of us during the years of COVID, when so much was, there's so much constraint about what we could do, Willa and some of her music groups, we all looked forward to our Friday outdoor concerts, where we would all get our lunch, sit outside our leadership center, and students like Willa and her band would perform for us. But it was for a lot of us, it was just that sense of normalcy of like live music, sitting outside and being able to enjoy our lunch. So Will, I might ask you to talk a little bit more about the music program in a little while.
I'd love to. Great. Awesome.
Thank you. Next we have Ethan. Ethan, if you can share a little bit, we'd appreciate it.
Sure. My name is Ethan Ade. I am a senior. I am a boarding student, and I've been here since I was a freshman. I was born in Seattle, but now I live half of my time in San Francisco and half of my time in Dallas. It's really hard for me to pinpoint a favorite class, but I think the Jurgensen's Entrepreneurship Program as an entirety just really sticks out to me as a bunch of my favorite classes. For my favorite memory, I think it's also really difficult to pinpoint a specific memory, but I'll list off two of or maybe three. I think every weekend or every other weekend, we try to have bonfires on my dorm's patio, and just seeing everybody together playing guitar and talking. It's just a really unique experience that I realize a lot of other high schoolers will just never really have in high school. And so that sticks out to me as one. And I think another really important memory for me is seeing players' faces when I show them photos that I take during sports games. I mean, it's really a unique emotion that I've not really ever seen before, because it's this feeling of like shock, but kind of hope that they can play like that again, and this amazement that they actually look like that, because a lot of players are unable to really fathom what they're doing as they're playing. And so Dunn is a really special place, and these two memories represent opportunities that I don't think I would have had at this level if I hadn't gone here.
Thank you, Ethan. And last and certainly not least, we have Charlotte. Charlotte, if you don't mind unmuting and telling us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Charlotte Hecker. I am a 12th grade senior student, like Ethan, Willa, and Paul. And I've been a student at Dunn since 6th grade. So several years of memories. So going back to that favorite memory is going to be a real hard one for me. I am a day student. I live in the San Ynez Valley, lived here my entire life. My favorite class, you all have stolen. my favorite classes. Going back to what Paul said though, history and philosophy of status and power is a trimester class, and it really piqued my interest because it's expanding on something that I had never learned before in depth, and it just truly Cal and Jean Fichon, their wisdom and intelligence and just the way that they lead classes was just so inspiring to me. And it was really wonderful to see them teach every day. So I really, really enjoyed that. And I'm sad that I can't take it again. My favorite memory, one of my favorite memories, thinking back last year, closing night of our musical, Something Rotten. I remember it was senior night and saying goodbye to a lot of my friends. Bittersweet memory, but something I'll definitely never forget. Yeah. Anything else that I missed?
I think that was great, Charlotte. Thank you so much. Just a reminder, this is a great point. If you have any questions that are percolating, please throw them in the question answer session or question answer tab below. I wanted to start with lobbing a pretty easy question to our boarding students, one that we get all the time when people are visiting campus. So Willa, maybe you can start. Paul and Ethan, jump in as you see appropriate. But if you can just describe, like, what does a typical day look like at boarding school? You know, how is it different than a day school? Just, yeah, from when you wake up to when you go to bed at night, what does a boarding school day look like?
I start?
Yeah, please, Willa.
Okay, so I wake up first thing. I don't know. I wake up, I brush my teeth, do the daily stuff. I wake up my roommate in the morning, and then I get my bag together, I get ready. And then I head on to the dining hall, and dining hall is where we have check-in in the morning, and you have breakfast, and it starts from 7:30, it ends at 8:15. 8:15 is the latest, usually when all the boarders come into the dining hall and check in. We all try to, I don't know, all up to the last minute, I guess you could say. Great habit. And then we have classes from 8:40 to 3:45. They are 6 periods throughout the day. We have the first 2, and we have a little advisory break. So we meet up with our advisors and we chat with them. Or for me, I just play music with my advisor because my advisor is a music teacher. Really cool. And then after advisory, we have another 2 periods, and then it's lunchtime. And lunchtime is really nice. You just get to integrate with everyone, especially as a boarder. When I usually get to catch up with my day student friends and I get to see them. I think I have to sneeze. Then the next 2 periods, they happen, and then usually after that we either have a seminar, or sometimes on Fridays we have assemblies, but also throughout the day we have scattered seminars. So sometimes you'll have 5 periods a day, sometimes you'll have 4 if you have a seminar and a free period, sometimes a seminar is a free period, and then you have sports. I think sports counts as the academic day, I believe. I've heard that one a lot. After that is sports. Day students can have independent, boarders. I'm in pickleball right now and I'm loving it. So we have sports, and everyone does their sports, and then after that is usually check-in, and then check-in is also dinner time. You check in for dinner. Do you want me to keep going, or?
Yeah, sure. From there, I'll pass it maybe to Paul if you want to talk about study hall and then
yeah,
maybe, if you have any leadership responsibilities in the dorm, maybe what that looks like as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. After dinner time, which ends at around 6:30ish, we have a little bit of free time before study hall starts at 7. This year it's changed a little bit. So there are grades that are assigned to different locations for study hall, like the library or the leadership center, which is our little communal area. But as a senior, I get to stay in my room for study hall, which I think is pretty cool. Which used to be the case for everybody last year, but now that's recently changed. And I'm also a resident assistant in one of the underclassmen dorms, Boone Dorm. So I have a couple of extra responsibilities before study hall and after dinner. So in that little bit of free time, whether that's making a schedule or leading a little dorm meeting to update the dorm on any activities that are coming up or any events that might be coming up in the future.
Thank you, Paul. Ethan, did they miss anything?
I think one thing that's really unique about being a boarding student that comes up in conversations with my friends from home is that I have free periods, and during my free periods, I have a dorm room to come back to, which is such a privilege. I can take naps, I can have snacks, I can pretty much do whatever I want, and it's a very, very unique experience to feel as though you're only a 2-minute walk away from your home.
Thank you, Ethan. Charlotte, I'm going to pass to you in a minute. I want to answer some of the Q&A questions, but Charlotte, if you can start thinking about, I'd love to ask you about like advisory program and also maybe what assemblies look like. But I saw a question come back about what percentage of our student body is boarding versus day students. So this year it's about 50-50. We anticipate next year will be about 60% boarding, 40% day students. And hopefully next year, I think we're planning to be about 180 students. So about 60% of those, roughly 100 or just under 100 will be boarding students. Another question that came through that I'm going to send to Kelsey and Simon before I get to Charlotte. Question came through about the dance program. And, what does that, do we offer dance on campus? If not, is there a local dance gallery that students dance at? I'm asking both of you, Kelsey as our athletic director, Simon as someone who has a daughter at the local dance gallery. So if you can both talk to that a little bit.
Yes, we do. So we don't have a dance program on campus, but we have the Los Olivos Dance Gallery, which has been around for over 20 years. That has a wide range of dance classes. They've got tap, ballet, jazz, hip hop. They've got all kinds of stuff. And so we have lots of students that are involved in that. And so there are lots of people going, and it's 2 minutes away. So a lot of times if there are boarding students, there's opportunities for, maybe we've got some faculty members that can help with drives, or advisors can help set that up. Otherwise, maybe there's students or other families that are doing that. But we have an independent sports form that the kids fill out if they would like to do that. And you just sort of get all the signatures and times just to make sure that they're there and they're fulfilling it. But the dance program is very robust. So if they're doing dance, then that's pretty much a guarantee that they're good with independent sport and meet those requirements.
Yeah, and I would add to that, I think Kelsey actually is a former dancer at LADG as well. I think.
Settle down.
Yeah, that didn't get mentioned. No, but I would say that it's a surprisingly robust program at the dance gallery, given the size of the town. Chad over there also has two daughters who dance there. And I would also say, as my wife, who was a former dancer growing up as well, knowing that our daughter goes there, she couldn't be more than happy. And she grew up in the big city, so our small town has a very good dance program.
Thank you both. And then Charlotte, if you can just unmute and talk a little bit about what the advisory program looks like at Dunn. And then we'll also touch quickly on like assemblies and how often do those happen and what do those look like at Dunn?
Yeah, of course. So something that is, I think, really unique to Dunn and our small community is that we have all school assemblies twice a week, which means that literally the whole school is gathered in the assembly area, and we all have announcements that range from like community events to kind of community service disclaimers and events that are going on. And then also we've done really special things for holidays that are coming up, celebrations, announcements, anything you can think of. We've probably announced it at assembly. And at assembly, each student sits in their advisory groups with their advisor. And so advisories are comprised of 4 to 5 students of mixed grades that are assigned to a faculty member or a member of the professional community. And we meet with them every day during break and then twice a day on Wednesday for a long advisory period. And advisors are kind of the first person that a student and the student's family will go to with any problem. Sports, I need the independent sport form. How can I reach out to Kelsey? Go to your advisor. Hey, I need my grades. Help with my grades. Go to your advisor. They're kind of like, they wear every hat and they're so helpful. I've had the pleasure of being in Mrs. Watson's advisory, the junior English teacher, since my freshman year. And I couldn't be happier. She's a wonderful advisory leader. And yeah, advisories are really, really wonderful because it's just another layer of kind of mixing boarding and day students as well as the grade levels. So I have every single grade is in my advisory.
Awesome. Thank you, Charlotte. And from a parent standpoint, that advisor is a great contact person. If you ever need information or want updates on how students are going, it's kind of a nice liaison between parents and the school as well, kind of a first point of contact. Charlotte, there is a question in the Q&A that I'm going to come back to you about but it's about how day students integrate with boarders, if you can just be thinking about that. But I'm going to get to one that was asked before that, and that's for any student that transitioned to Dunn School as a boarding student from a day school, which is all three of you boarding students. Can you describe some of the challenges you may have experienced and how you work to overcome some of those challenges? So things like homesickness or making friends, I assume, are kind of built into that question. So Ethan, I've heard you kind of address this question before. Love to hear you start with this one, and then Paul and Will, if you guys would jump in, that'd be great.
Sure. I think boarding school is a very challenging experience, but the reward is massive. As a senior now, I realize how far ahead I am from my counterparts in San Francisco and Dallas, and it's an experience that can really shape you very early on. So when I came as a freshman, I was actually one of the few students that didn't feel homesick my first year. I was very excited by the newfound independence. But the homesickness started to creep in my sophomore year and my junior year when I started to miss my family a lot more. So I think there's a lot of support for students that do feel this way. And one thing that I can confidently say is that there is a space on campus for everybody. I have not met a person that has ever felt as though they have nobody to go to because of how small and tight our community is. And so whether it's somebody in your dorm or it's your advisor or it's your favorite teacher, there's always people that care about you and they want to see you succeed. And so whether it's homesickness or you're struggling with classwork, there's a lot of support at Dunn that isn't at other schools because of how personal the experience is here. And so I'd say there will be challenges, and for parents, you shouldn't expect a seamless transition into boarding school, but just know that everybody's rooting for you, and the end goal is worth it.
That was very well said, Ethan. And Paul and Will, I don't know if you have anything to add, but if not, that was a great answer.
Yeah, I had a pretty similar transition to boarding school that Ethan did. I came in as a sophomore. I don't want to sound like I didn't miss my parents, because of course I did. I love my parents, but I grew up like going to camps for the whole summer, so I was used to being away from them. But there are endless leadership roles here. And the people that are in these roles are tasked with making this feel like a second home and making this feel like a safe space for you. And there's just so many people here that will do that for you, and that'll make your experience so much better. And like Ethan said, the end goal is always so much better, and it's changed me as a student and as a person.
Thank you, Paul. And maybe from here, I'll go back to Charlotte. So the question, Charlotte, in the Q&A section was, how do day students socialize or integrate with the boarders outside of the classroom? If you can talk a little bit to that point.
Yeah, that's a great question, because obviously I don't live on campus. So how often am I interacting with these three other students? It's a great question. All the time, every day, all day. From 8:30 to 5:30, I am on campus, and sometimes later because of my leadership roles. Day students are welcome with open arms to 3 meals a day. I often eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner at school with my boarding friends. Beyond that, we have community events all the time. We have the lip sync coming up this Saturday, where as a school, we all bond together, and weekends too. Day students are welcome to participate in all weekend events, to my knowledge. And yeah, we go to classes together, we do sports together, which is really interesting because you travel all as a team, right? So I think, Kelsey, you can speak to this too. There's like just such a bond between boarding and day students. And obviously there's like a very thriving and beautiful boarding culture and community, which I don't want to kind of like disregard and say that boarding and day students are kind of one and the same. And in many ways we are, but the boarding population has a beautiful culture and really a sustained community. And day students just get to be part of that every day. And then we leave, and then we come back. So yeah, we spend a lot of time together and are very connected.
Thank you, Charlotte. And sorry, I keep asking the students for their responses, but I feel like it's so valuable here to get the student experience. So I actually want to go back to you, Willa, for we're getting close to the end of time here, but I'm going to wrap these two questions in one if you can address both of them. The first one, because I know Loy does something special in this regard, as well as, at assemblies. But how do we celebrate things like a birthday for a boarding student is question number one. Question number two, if you can just talk a little bit about the dress code on campus, what that looks like for students.
Okay, so starting with birthdays in the dorm, Loy is very special, loyalty. And what we do here is we have everybody's birthdays in track, especially during the school year. And what happens is our dorm house head, Miss Spencer or Beth Spencer, she will go up to them individually first and be like, hey, your birthday's coming up, we want to celebrate on Loy. Is there anything in particular, what kind of treat or dessert you would like? So we actually just celebrated a birthday last night. Her name is Pamea, and she requested strawberry cheesecake ice cream. And so last night, after we finished all our announcements and got on with all the old news or whatever, we lit a candle over some ice cream and we sang to her. And then after that, we distributed ice cream for everybody. There was more than enough for seconds. I got seconds. It was really good. And it's just really sweet because it's the check-ins are right after study hall, and that's right after we all, are finished doing our work, or I don't know, just sitting on your desk for a while. And it's really nice because it's a community memory that it happens quite often. So you kind of, get used to it. However, the meaning is always extremely present, and it's very significant when thinking about boarding life. And when we're in college, I don't think we're going to experience that. I think it's going to be a lot more regarding our own time and our own hands. So the fact that our school incorporates stuff like this and incorporates memories, I think it's extremely like a component of living here. So now on to dress code. Dress code is usually just.
I can help you here if you need assistance. I have it. I talk about it every day.
Do you want to start?
Yeah, so how I describe it is our handbook goes into more details than this, but we ask our students to be neat, clean, and covered. So long as you're neat, clean, and covered, you typically fall within dress code. And Simon, feel free to hop in here if I'm misquoting our student handbook. But our students typically dress for the weather, which in California is warm. So you'll see t-shirts, you'll see shorts and sneakers and things like that. So we don't have a uniform or anything like that. Our students dress appropriate for the school day. Most importantly, that they haven't rolled out in their pajamas and just showing up to class. They're ready for the academic structure, the academic classes. And then actually, Simon, we have 1 minute here, but there's 2 more questions I want to lob to you in the Q&A, and then we'll wrap up. The questions are what kind of clubs we have on campus, and then if you can quickly touch on cell phone and computer policy in the rooms for boarding students.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I will answer the cell phone and the computer, and then I'll lob to the students for the clubs because they are part of them, and that works. Quickly before we go, Willa paraphrased me, so I'm going to paraphrase something she said about the birthdays, and it basically comes back to the personalized attention. There are so many points of contact for your kid at this school, whether it be in the dorm, the advisor, the classroom, the coach, etc. Milestones like birthdays and or celebrations. Celebrations and or challenges are always recognized and people are supported and celebrated where it happens. Cell phones, computers in the room. Our policy is that when at lights out, we don't want students on laptops and phones, but we trust that they're using their technology appropriately. During study hours, we're monitoring that. If students aren't getting enough sleep or they're on their phones and computers at night, we'll work with students, work with families to come up with plans to limit that usage. We believe in the fact that we don't want to create a place where a student comes with 3 phones because they'll give you their phone that we're going to take away from them. But we really recognize, the fact that students are going to have to overcome these, and part of that is the responsibility and the autonomy they get going to a boarding school. To Ethan and Paul's point, where they were talking about the growth that happens, they are very well placed for college and beyond because of they've learned those lessons in the 9th and 10th grade of like, hey, if I stay up all night playing computer games, then it's going to be hard to get up in the morning and everything else is going to struggle. Clubs, we have a variety of clubs. We have birthday club, we have the hiking and composting club. I think that's one club together. We also have our spirit club. We have our marketing club. What am I missing, kids? Charlotte, then Ethan.
We have Interact Club, which I'm the president of, which partners with the Los Olivos Rotary Club. So the local Rotary Club, we work with them to fundraise and donate to organizations in Santa Barbara County that we feel are really kind of go along with Dunn's mission and the mission of our Interact Club. So we also have like a Dungeons and Dragons club. It's also so easy to start your own club if you don't find something, which is unlikely, but you can start your own.
Cool.
And I would also just like to say it's the Backpacking Club. I'm a proud member, and we do more than just hiking. We do a lot of community service, partnered with National Park Services, and we also have some pigs on campus that help the community be more eco-friendly.
Yep. Thanks, Ethan. And yeah, that definitely shows the student-centered natures of our club that they know what it's called. Mike, back to you.
Yeah, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. We're a couple minutes over. Just wanted to really thank everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you to our panelists and our students for agreeing to do this and sharing a little bit about yourselves, your programs, and your experience at Dunn. Those on the call, I hope this was informative and helpful. We're happy to put you in touch with anyone on this call that you heard from tonight if you want to dive in deeper to any of these topics or learn more about them, if you have a question we didn't get to as well. If you haven't visited campus yet, we would love to welcome you and host you here to get to see all of these programs firsthand. Additionally, this recording is going to be available for you to view or to share with anyone you'd like to share it with. It'll be on our website under the admissions tab. There's a section called admissions events. Let's see. Lastly, thank you again to everyone who logged in. Have a wonderful night. Please be in touch if there's any questions. Good night. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.